Welcome to the Professor's Parlor, a think tank media podcast. Hosted by Dr. Berkita S. Bradford and Dr. Sherrie Tennessee, this is a space for real conversations about professional growth, career pathways, and what's next for hospitality and tourism. From entrepreneurship to industry leadership and the lived experiences of students on HBCU campuses, each episode blends academic insight with real-world perspective. Pull up a chair. Let's get into it.
So good evening. So thank you for joining us in the Professor's Parlor. We are so excited to have you. As we just discussed, I am the only person not on the West Coast, and I love the East Coast and I like to visit the West Coast, but I always must have a round trip ticket. So there is no envy on my side. And I don't like heat. I was born and raised Louisiana, but I like a cool 62 degrees, 72.
Brr.
That's my sweet spot. Oh my goodness, Sharonda, you would freeze your little bones. So thank you so much for joining us. And we do have, some time tonight to let's chat and learn about you and Mosaic. And this is a organic type platform. And we have conversations as if you were in the living room with us or in the kitchen or on the patio. We'll be on the West Coast, out on the patio.
In the sunroom, outside.
Yes, in the sunroom. So do relax. And the time really does pass really fast. And so for the sake of our audience, I will share a little bit about myself. And we do kind of like a round robin. I normally use a sports term. I'm not sure if you ladies are into sports, but there's a show called Around the Horn. So we go around and we introduce ourselves. And my co-host is Dr. Sherrie Tennessee, who is on the West Coast, but actually a colleague from Virginia State University. And Sherrie and I met several years ago at a conference that we will leave nameless. And we just hit it off. We became buddies, conference buddies and friends and all of that. So I am the department chair and associate professor at North Carolina Central University in the School of Business in Durham, North Carolina. And I have been teaching and an educator, if you count my GTA, when I was a PhD student, over 20 years. And it literally seems like yesterday. I returned to North Carolina Central last year. That was my first job right after I left Kansas State. And I've been in between. I've been at Grambling, which is my alma mater. I've been at St. John's in Queens. And I was at Virginia State for 9 years prior to coming here. And so I feel I have the best of both worlds because I get to do hospitality. I get to work with young people, but I don't have to necessarily work weekends to go to a job. Sherrie knows we do a lot of work on weekends, and so does Sharonda, grading and all that good stuff. So that's my short story. And so I am going to pivot to Tiffany, and then we'll do Sharonda. And we do use first names on this show. And so you may hear me say Dr. Tennessee, but we do use first names. And then Sherrie will close it out, and then we'll get started. So let's go, Tiffany. Share whatever you feel about sharing about yourself.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. Like I said, I'm very excited. I'm a little nervous, but
Don't be.
It'll be a really fun conversation. So yeah, my name is Tiffany Aguiar. I'm a practicing lawyer now, but my background is in hospitality. I graduated from the hotel school, now called the Nolan School at Cornell University back in 2014, and have since moved away from the hospitality industry in the traditional sense, but I still have a very deep passion. Most of my friends who came out of Cornell are still in the hospitality industry in one way or another, so I keep my ties as close as possible. As far as practicing lawyer, I am an advertising and antitrust lawyer, which just means I help companies stay out of trouble when it comes to what they're putting out in their advertising and how they're pricing their goods or services. It's a lot of fun. I really love it. And it's a very, very dynamic area right now. Just a couple of days ago, there was an executive order from the president about pricing in food goods. So that's kind of what I do on a day-to-day basis. I am a very proud member of the Mosaic board as well.
Yay.
You're with, Berkita and Sharonda, and it's been such a journey and a learning experience, and really, really inspiring to connect with students and hear what's going on campus these days and what they need from us to really support them in their careers. So yeah, it's a little bit about me.
Very good. Thank you. I bet this is an interesting time. And that is definitely a conversation to have in the parlor. Maybe not when we're recording, but yes, that is definitely some fun times, some good stuff going on. All right. Dr. Sharonda Bishop, you're up next.
Absolutely. All right. Well, hello, everyone. I am happy to be here as well. I am another first-time podcaster, but very welcomed already. So I'm excited too. I wear many, many hats. I'm a lecturer at Cal Poly Pomona and pretty much have a full schedule. So with 5 classes, I teach both undergraduates as well as in their graduate program, their master's in HR leadership. So that keeps me busy. I just learned I will have a class of 180 students in the fall of next year. So that'll be a whole different dynamic.
That's insane. That's
I know,
insane.
crazy, absolutely crazy. But it takes the place of 4 classes. So I was ready for the switch.
Okay.
I am also the proud founder and owner of Bishop Consulting, which is an HR trainee and consulting firm based in Southern California. So I probably made that switch about 5 years ago when I left corporate America after 20 years of progressive HR leadership positions, and most of that time in hospitality roles. So I feel blessed and fortunate to have had that experience and able to bring some real life situations to my students currently in that role with Bishop Consulting, but didn't say the name of my company. In that role with Bishop Consulting, I am the advising director of Mosaic. So I am excited to wear that hat and talk to you about that hat today.
Very good. And you do a wonderful job. All right, Sherrie, let's hear from you.
So it's great to have the conversation. I do have dreams of becoming a JD, Tiffany, so I will have to reach out to you. The PhD is fresh, so we're not ready yet, but down the road. So I have been teaching for 20 years, post-secondary education, kind of stumbled into it and just absolutely positively fell in love with it. I am the online coordinator and assistant professor at Virginia State University. Because it's online, I get the chance to still live on the West Coast and teach on the East Coast, which is absolutely wonderful. I have my own organization, which is Spa SOS. So I do a lot of consulting in the spa and wellness space. I have a book out on it, and then I am working on a coloring book for well-being. So I'm super excited about that. And even more excited to hear more about Mosaic. Berkita and I have talked about it. Victor mentioned it. I want to say last year. I know Stacy, who's on the board. So I definitely am excited to hear just more about the organization and what you're doing.
Okay, thank you. So I will kind of take the lead and I guess direct us, if you will. So I too am a board member with Mosaic, and it's a wonderful group of folks to work with. And one of the things that I love is we have folks from all different walks of life, and it really does represent the name, which I think is a fabulous name, just personally. And so I was pulled in, recruited, or however you want to say it.
Probably told.
Yes. And
Speaking.
I don't remember if it was Victor or Evan, because if you talk to Victor and Evan long enough, they will convince you to do something. And I'm convinced that it's the whispering, because they both have kind of like these whispering voices. And you're like, yeah. And then the next thing you know, you're doing some work. So Mosaic, and I'm going to pass it to Sharonda and Tiffany, but Mosaic is an organization that a group of folks came together to create and start because we felt very strongly that there was an opportunity and there is an opportunity to assist with the professional development of young people who have expressed a desire to be in the hospitality industry. And obviously, it's something that I'm very passionate about. It's what I do every day in my daytime job and some nights. And so, as a continuation from our previous podcast, Tiffany and Sharonda, we were talking about how folks got into the hospitality industry, and we had some take home words, and one was being very intentional. And so I think that Mosaic is a vehicle that will allow us to be very intentional in terms of how we can make a difference in the industry and whatever that looks like, with working with students, working with industry, even working with each other. So that said, what I am going to do is I am going to let you share how you became a part of Mosaic, and your passion for Mosaic, what that looks like. And what do you see it being for students? And not only for students, because we often focus on students, but I know personally, I have I feel very rewarded to work with young people. So I see the HR, Sharonda, I see your writing. So how did you become a part of Mosaic? I know that you're passionate about it, what that sounds like, and where do you see it going? And as we sometimes tell our students, there are no right or wrong answers. This is something that we just really want to know. And so I'm going to start with Tiffany. She says she was a little nervous, so we're going to start with Tiffany and ease her into it, and then we'll pivot to Sharonda. So, all right, let's go.
So, okay, first question. How did I become part of Mosaic? I think I have a somewhat similar story to you, Berkita. I mean, I had met Evan a couple of times, and I knew Victor more because I was on campus the same time he was on campus
Okay.
at Cornell. So both of them approached me, I think separately, virtually, and sort of shared their vision. And I'm always sort of hesitant to take on more than I can handle because I don't want to give at least a good like, good faith
You want
try.
to bring your A game.
I try to, right? Especially for something as important as this. And
Mhm.
so I expressed that to both of them, and they said, that's fine. We need your sort of perspective. For better or worse, I think lawyers can bring a good perspective to visionaries, to business people. And so they knew that. They knew my connection to the school and to the hospitality industry and my love for it. And so they very politely asked me. I think I thought about it for a little bit. I talked to friends and family and mentors, and I decided this is just too good of an opportunity to pass up. And so I think that was our initial contact point. But to your point, Berkita, I do think that when Victor and Evan are behind something, like it's hard to say no
It
because
is.
you know them as humans, you know them as smart individuals and wonderful leaders, and you're like, yeah, I got to be part of this because there's something here.
Absolutely.
So I think that kind of goes a little bit into my passion for Mosaic, and I think that it was, as a first generation, a lot of things. I got to Cornell and I didn't know how to navigate that space. And so, as a first generation American, as a first generation college student, now as a first generation lawyer, I just know the importance of having other people who have been there and are willing to be very honest with you and peel back the curtain of what it takes to be successful, what questions you should be asking, who you need to be talking to. Because as much as my immigrant parents taught me that really hard work can get you somewhere, it can't get you all the way there if you don't have the insights that some folks are sort of born into. And so having an opportunity to create sort of a modernized, updated, meeting the moment version of that for students now on campus, I think was really exciting to me because I knew how important it was for me when I was on campus.
I love it. And that is why
So
they ask you right there.
thank you. Yeah, it's a good point. Like they saw that in me, and I didn't even articulate this right to Victor or Evan. They just knew.
They just do. Absolutely. Thank you. That was that. I love it. I love it. Yes. All right, Sharonda.
Yeah, and absolutely. Tiffany didn't mention the word, but I will say that, yeah, as much as whether it's your parents, and I'm not necessarily first generation, but my mother graduated from college in her 50s. So she is a student from the segregated South. And so there are lots of stories and learnings that I have from her. But as much as you or your parents push you to have a hard work ethic, yeah, you can't go all the way because you don't have the network. So I'll just say that word. And I know it's probably an overused term. But yeah, I started to understand the reach, I guess, that Mosaic could have, because I was experiencing it myself as I was going through college. And 30 years later, when I was introduced to Mosaic, I was in because I heard all of these wonderful leaders that were going to be a part of this program. And I won't overemphasize, I won't say mentor to Tiffany, because I think that would probably be over exaggerated. But I
don't think so. I
Tiffany
still
when she was
remember.
going to school.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
whether it was Victor and Evan and Tiffany, I'm like, I'm in. I'm so in to what Mosaic could offer and bring to current students. And yeah, I have a passion for working with students, which is how I transitioned from corporate America into my current role, teaching undergraduates. And this is just another way for me to not only help communities, but also feel more attached to students. So that's why I'm in.
Absolutely. And I'm going to use your word networking in our most recent recording again. And we had some takeaway words. And I guess, we can never get away from being educators. And one of them was relationships. So we can sometimes use networking and relationships interchangeably. And so I can't really recall when I met Evan, but I met Victor because at the time I was department chair at Virginia State. And Victor is a graduate of Virginia State University, and he was on my advisory board. And so, literally, excuse me, that's how I got to know Victor. And so, Victor was very supportive. And, I remember one time we were having something on campus. Victor was there to recruit for Cornell for the MBA program. And I couldn't be there. I was headed to a conference and I couldn't be there. And it was so interesting because he came to speak and he bought the students pizza and they all hung out. And it yielded, a graduate from the master's program at Cornell that was a Virginia State student. And Victor was so, determined to get someone from Virginia State. And so I think that Mosaic is an opportunity to do more of that, because Tiffany touched on being first generation. Sharonda touched on, just relationships and how her mom went back to school later. And I ended up in hospitality. Literally, I had a friend who was majoring in it, and they were having an event, and she needed someone to help her fold napkins. And we were sitting, yes, literally, that's how it started. And and I was like, what is this? And I was in the process of changing my major because I had realized I didn't need to be an elementary school teacher because I don't like little kids. And so it was like, yeah, you got to find something else to do. And I was like, what is this? And she said, oh, at that time it was called hotel restaurant management, which I'm dating myself. And so that's how I got into it. I had no clue that it even existed. And so even as a student, we have these relationships. And so with that said, Sharonda, I'm going to ask you if you could talk a little bit about the student chapters and the memberships and what you envision that looking like for students. And we talk often about students building relationships with industry and mentors. But if you would speak maybe to the opportunity this will give students to build relationships with each other, because you referenced when you were at Cornell, and you built that relationship years ago. So if you would talk a little bit about that, that would be great.
Absolutely. And I'm going to start with our Mosaic elevator pitch here. So
That works for me.
we are still trying to perfect this, but I think we're really proud of where we are right now.
This is a safe space. This is the living room. This is safe here.
Right. So we support the full mosaic of talent in hospitality and related industries by cultivating inclusive leadership and expanding career opportunities through education, mentoring, networking, industry partnerships, and leadership experiences. So we want to offer that to all of our students. Yeah, we are excited to get the ball rolling here. So we launched in August of this fall, and we're excited to have 6 chapters currently, East Coast as well as West Coast. So we're kind of, the entire dashboard here, but really building relationships between not only having that like Colgate experience when you have a chapter, but we also realize that there might be members across the country who, either don't have a large enough department maybe to have a chapter. So we also want to build community with just members at large. So we're creating individual programming to connect members across the country. We're hopeful to build a professional membership so that we have colleagues that are members at large can interact with on a professional basis. We're building a members only access tool within our website to really make that dynamic and powerful for members to interact with. So yes, absolutely, our chapter is important, and having on-site community within your university is important, but we also want to make sure that the individual membership is valuable too. And so we're building that component.
I love it. I love it, because this is a generation of I want something.
Personalized
I want
and
something.
customized.
Yes, exactly. So I like that. Tiffany, would you like to add anything?
I think Sharonda summed it up really well. And I think to that point of like membership only programming, like, and I think this underscores the approach that the board is trying to take, is we try to present everything that we can as much as possible to the students, the advisory students in particular, so that they can weigh in and say, this is helpful, actually this isn't helpful, or here's a need that I'm not getting from my school. Can you all provide that to us in some way?
Absolutely.
And I think that's also exciting, and it touches on a theme that Sharonda mentioned earlier. And it's just exciting to work with.
And students need multiple touch points. I mean, just like, everything else in life, even, we're talking about hospitality, restaurants, location. I think students need, constant reminders that their professional development is their responsibility. And you can get that from multiple different places. And we want to be one of those places where we really think that we can have impact.
I agree. And I want to pivot back to something Tiffany said. Tiffany said that Mosaic provides an opportunity in a space where a university may not. And I think that that's very important. I think that's profound. And the reason being is when you look at some of our students, and, some of them, a lot of them, I serve a population that a lot of my students are first generation. And I often say that they're very smart kids. They have the work ethic because a lot of them have had to work while in college, and they're not working to go backpacking. They're working to survive and not thrive. And so, it could be that you're having a fabulous event on a Tuesday night, but they're at work, or it could be that they don't know the fabulous event is happening because, they're not in that network and loop. And I think that this is an awesome opportunity for Mosaic to build that confidence. So it's like, well, I know that I can ask, me if this is going on, and even if they're not my students. So I really like that Tiffany has pointed that out, that this is an opportunity for students to engage and have some professional development and just feel comfortable, because a lot of times, if you walk in a space and you're not comfortable in that space, or you're not sure, it doesn't matter how smart you are or how much you may not thrive. And I am a person who is not shy, which I'm sure you all have figured it out. But, sometimes I'm in spaces and, I kind of watch the room to see what's going to happen next, because I may not be as familiar. But imagine, 18, 19, 20-year-old who is, thousands of miles or a couple hours away from home, their first time. Sometimes people come to college, it's their first time even just being away from home, period. So I really like that. I think that that is, and I love the elevator speech. You did a great job. And I do know that everyone that's on the board believes that. I know that everyone that's on the board believes that. And I think too, that as we develop chapters and we have insight as to who, the advisors are for these students, I think that they believe that. And I think that that is what's going to be, what is already great about Mosaic and what will continue to be. And so I'm going to ask one more question and then I will pivot to Sherrie. We had this, unfortunately, I had to miss it, but we had this fabulous event in Bethesda. And Sharonda, if you would maybe talk a little bit about that, if y'all want to talk about that, because the pictures were just fabulous and I couldn't believe I had to miss it, but I had to. But talk about a little bit about the event that we did have. And I mean, just the excitement that I saw, everyone that was in attendance.
Yes, absolutely. And that should be posted really soon on our website. So we're still perfecting our website too. But we do have a little minute sizzle reel that we created for that event. But yeah, we were super excited to launch Mosaic at Marriott headquarters early October. And that was our celebration launch, but it was also our first opportunity to have a symposium with the students. So there was an accompanying symposium, leadership symposium on the following day. But Marriott headquarters, as well as Encore, MGM, and Aramark are our founding partners, and Marriott as our partner was able to support us in our launch. So we were in Bethesda, Maryland for 2 days and had our launch reception and then leadership symposium, half-day leadership symposium with a keynote speaker, a fabulous panel, which included some executive level hospitality professionals. So students came from 8 different universities. We had 30 students excited, just like the rest of us, to participate in those 2 days. And then we are super excited to announce that we're going to have our first.
Let me do the drum roll.
Oh, okay. Please. Awesome.
All right.
To have our spring leads is what we're calling it, our spring leads conference, which will be April 9th through 11th at Aramark headquarters.
Yeah, another drum roll.
Yes.
Yes. But I'm gonna let Sherrie say something right quick. She has a son that needs to get to a concert. So Sherrie, you want to say anything right quick before you exit the parlor? And I'm so sorry that you have to go, but I understand.
I'm so glad we could get Mosaic on the show. I mean, I think it is such a timely organization that's really going to contribute to the experiences that students have both in undergrad and those opportunities and exposure for career opportunities, internships, networking. And I will tell you what one of my good friends always says, who is in charge of a DMO: hospitality is the business of relationships. And that is what this is fostering. That's what continues. That's how we're able to have the different guests on the show, is the relationships that we have built over the years. Ladies, I wish you much success. I definitely want to hear more about the event in Philadelphia. Take care. And I am off to play chauffeur. So with that, thank you so much.
Have fun, Sherrie.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Sherrie. Thank you,
Pleasure
thank
meeting
you,
you. I'll
thank
see you
you.
on LinkedIn. I'm going to follow you both.
Okay.
Please.
Very good. So we have about maybe 2 more minutes and we'll wrap it up. I told you that the 30 minutes would
You
go by
did.
fast.
Oh my
I told
goodness.
you. I
You
told
were
you.
right.
So I am so excited. And I remember, Sharonda, you mentioned, the level of executives that were in attendance in Bethesda. And you mentioned that we will be at Aramark's headquarters and we were at Marriott's headquarters. And one of the things that I really like about Mosaic that really just pulled me in was when we were kind of early in, when we were having those early meetings and we were talking, and the bar is really high. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that the bar is high and that we have some wonderful individuals who, the bar is high, and the bar is high because we know that these young people can reach it. And I think that it is important for us to do that because as an educator, one of the most, I don't know, saddest things to me, especially when I first started teaching and I was still new, is when students don't push themselves to reach their full potential. And I think that this is a vehicle for us to help encourage them. And so I think by setting the bar high and being able to be, at these headquarters, these corporate headquarters, and to engage with CEOs and top level, I think that that is something that sets Mosaic aside. And there is extreme value in having recruiters and talent managers come to campuses. I'm going to put on my educator's hat and take off my Mosaic board hat. There is so much value in that. And that is how we make connections. But as you prepare students for long-term successful careers, we may have some more attorneys, we may have some more Tiffany's who, I am technically not in the hospitality industry, but I do it every day. And I think for them to see, the Tiffany's and the Evans and those of us on the board and how you can use hospitality as a springboard and build those relationships and just do some really, really wonderful things. And I personally am, delighted and honored to be part of this. And I really enjoy working with everyone. We have some interesting folks on the board. I'm thinking of Carl at this moment. I'm thinking of Carl. So normally Cherie wraps up the show for us, but I guess I'll have to do it tonight. So what I do is I normally ask our guests if you would take about 30 seconds and any parting words of wisdom or anything you would like to share. And as I say to guests, and it's a real 30 seconds. It's not the DoorDash or the Lyft 30 seconds where it keeps. I was waiting on a Lyft Saturday evening to go to dinner. I was in New Orleans and they were having high school championship football games. And I waited on a Lyft for 7 minutes for 40 minutes. And it kept
Oh my
saying
God.
7 minutes. And they
Okay.
kept
Been there.
canceling and kept canceling. I was like, oh my goodness. And my friend that I was meeting at the restaurant was already there. Otherwise, I probably would have just gone back in the hotel and said, forget it. But at any rate, so if you would, whatever, if you want to say something about Mosaic, if you want to say something about hospitality, it's up to you. But I am going to ask that you take your 30 seconds to shine.
Awesome. I will go ahead and start. I love that Mosaic has professionals within both their advisory team as well as the cheerleaders that we're calling our founding partners. It has professionals who are all focused on student professional development, student acceleration into leadership. Like we are behind our students 110%. So that's me. And I'm glad that everyone else has that same focus. And our job is really to create those opportunities to assist, I'd say, not totally create them because you are in charge of your own futures, but to help
I know what you
assist.
mean, like a space. I know what
Yes,
you mean.
exactly.
Yes,
Have a
yes.
space to assist with, giving you some guidance where you can really shine. So I just encourage you to check out our website to join us.
Become a member.
But yeah, exactly. Become a member and join us in Philadelphia in April.
Yes, yes. All right, Tiffany.
Yeah. To piggyback off of that, I think if anyone's listening and you have just even a small bone of sort of entrepreneurialism in your spirit and your body, I think this is such a good opportunity to be part of something that's new and fresh and growing. This is such a unique opportunity and time for any sort of new organization, and jump on, become a member, come to these conferences,
Exactly.
hear what people are saying, give us your ideas. You know, like you were saying, Berkita, connect with one another because there's an energy
Absolutely.
that you can't recreate any other time in any other space. So
I agree. I agree.
don't miss it. Don't miss
I
it. And
love that. I love that.
yeah,
I love that. So uh in our last one we had 4 take home words. So in this one I will say we will leave you with there's an energy, there's a movement happening that we cannot recreate. So it is your opportunity and your time. And what I really like about Mosaic is not only are we pouring into students at the undergraduate level, but because we are extending it to post undergraduate, you're now talking about professional students, graduate students who are still early in their career and still desire and can benefit from some networking and relationship building and some confidence boosting. And even the young professionals, I can remember my first hotel job. I was working downtown Chicago and I hung out with the folks I worked with at night. I worked 3 to 11 because I'm a night owl, as Sharonda knows. And we used to hang out and, we built these relationships, but I didn't have a professional network to grow my career. I was just having fun downtown Chicago, hanging out. And I don't regret it, but there was no career building. There was no mosaic around for me to be a member of to kind of have some, Sharonda kind of shied away from the term mentoring, but I think that it still would be mentoring because there are different degrees of mentoring, and I could have benefited from someone even if they said, "Hey, Berkita, have you heard about this conference?" or something like that. So, yeah. All right. So don't miss this. We cannot recreate this energy. I'm going to leave you
Yes.
with that.
Love it.
And ladies, thank you so much for doing this. I consider you, we're colleagues and we're in the trenches together. And this was somewhat of a different space. I learned some things about you. And I just would say that to be nervous, you both did a great job. So give yourselves a hand.
And thank you, thank you.
Thanks for spending time with us on the Professor's Parlor. This podcast is part of Hospitality Nexus, a global human-first platform bringing the hospitality ecosystem together in one place. Inside the Nexus, it's a career fair that never closes, connecting industry leaders, educators, students, employers, and partners through real presence. Watch every episode of the Professor's Parlor inside Hospitality Nexus at hospitalitynexus.org. Stay curious, keep the dialogue going, and always lead with the spirit of hospitality.